All right, our first local celebrity is Lauren Alexander.
Thank you, Barry. Well, good evening, my friends. I'm really excited to tell you that I have one thing going that my fellow contestants and our previous winner and even our comedian that was paid to be here tonight, even he does not have. I have a secret weapon. Spanx. Listen, Andrew, I got my own insurance policy. That's right. That's right. I got me some Spanx, you guys. And let me tell you about Spanx. They just hold everything together. I mean, Jesus does too. Jesus does too, but Spanx just sort of bring it all in. Can I get a witness? Any ladies out there? You know what I'm talking about. Never leave home without them. It's like Jesus, just don't leave home without him. One of my boys was climbing up the stairs yesterday, and he gave me some material to work with, so thanks, buddy. And he is holding my undergarment, my Spanx, in his hand. And he's like, I just need to tell somebody, I don't know, because he's a junior high boy, I don't know who this belongs to or what it is. And I was like, man, must be nice. 3 words, must be nice. Because I know who those are and I know who they belong to. And I hope that you never have to know the joy of Spanx. I mean, I'm glad they exist, but I don't want to know about them. I don't want to need them, frankly. Here we are. This is my life. I want to tell you about my cute little boy. He's 8 years old. He's the least sullen of my children, but give it time. I'm sure it'll change. He is maybe going to be a preacher. He's so loud. Don't know where he gets it, but he's really loud and he's really intense and he likes to tell people how he feels and he likes to boss people around. I'm seeing a trend here. But anyway, he was walking out of school the other day and his dad, who's a pastor, was picking him up and his dad was wearing his 3-piece suit. And from the steps of the school, my son Elijah yells, "Hey, Dad, did somebody die today?" And everybody looks at my son and he's like, "He's a pastor, he had a funeral, don't worry." That's how you know your kid's a pastor's kid. And I just want to tell you that when you have a kid like Elijah Burke Alexander, who knows that he is probably going to be a pastor one day, he feels very passionate about people coming to visit our church. Okay, anybody got a greeter in your family? They're just a natural greeter. Anybody know? Yeah. You're like, it's me. That's why I raised my hand, because I'm really proud of it. And I'm excited, and I'll come talk to you later if you want me to. And then there are those who sink down lower in their chairs. I hope she doesn't call on me. I'm an introvert. Well, Elijah's not one of those introverts. And so one time we had some friends come and visit us. Come and visit our church for the Sunday. They go to a different church, but they came to see us that Sunday, and our daughters are good friends, and so they just sort of sat in the back row, and we were really excited to see them. And when Elijah saw them, he was very excited because, like I said, his passion is making people feel important and special, which is so sweet. So he walks up to them, and he gets on his knees, and he faces them in the next pew, and he says, "Today, you are visitors." And they're like, "Yep, we're visitors. Thanks, buddy." And he goes, "Next week, when you come back, you will be members." So he's an incredible greeter. I hope you guys have that kind of spirit of greeting, because let me tell you what, that'll lay it on thick. They didn't come back the next week, but that's a different story for a different day. My niece, I'm a little concerned about her salvation. I just need to tell you, we're trying to get her saved. Can I tell you why? So a few years ago, my cat, Snowball, God rest her mighty soul, she died. And as she was being put down, we were in the car on our way to go somewhere. My 2 nieces were in the back seat, and at that time they were 6 and probably 4. And so we're driving, and I'm sitting in the driver's seat in my aunt car. Anybody know Carlene Nichols, Miss Nick from Flagey Elementary School? She's my auntie. And so I have my oldest niece, Kristen, is sobbing. She's so upset. She's so sad because this cat is dying, and I'm sad too. So I've got a few tears running down, but my niece is really upset. And so Aunt Carr, being the loving, caring, supportive, amazing 40-year teacher that she is, she begins to spin a tale to try to make her feel better. And she said, Kristen, have you ever heard of the Rainbow Bridge? And she begins to tell her about the Rainbow Bridge. How many of you guys have heard of that maybe wrong theology called the Rainbow Bridge, right? Where the cats and the dogs, what do as you go into heaven? They wave their tiny little paws at you. And so she begins to tell Kristen about the Rainbow Bridge to make her feel better because she's really sad and depressed that Snowball, God rest her mighty soul, was dead, right? So she's trying to make Kristen feel better. And all of a sudden I hear from my 4-year-old niece, Hannah, who's very direct, if you know what I mean. Like one time she stood on her front porch and she heard a cow moo in the distance and she said, I not like that horse. She's that kind of kid, okay? So she pipes up and she goes, is that cat on that bridge yet? I don't know yet, Hannah. Why? I need to know, is that cat on that bridge yet? I said, Hannah, I'm not really sure. I don't know the logistics of the Rainbow Bridge. Honestly, I can't tell you for sure. And she said, well, let me know when the cat's on the bridge. So as Aunt Carr's comforting Kristen, finally, she asks again, is the cat on the Rainbow Bridge? And I thought maybe she just needs a bit of comfort too. So I said, yes, Hannah, she's on the Rainbow Bridge. And she said, good, I hated that cat. She's not really an animal lover. So now I'm concerned about her salvation because how are we going to get her into heaven? Because she's going to think those cats are on that Rainbow Bridge waving her in. She's never going to want to go. It's the worst. Pray for Hannah's salvation. Now, most of you know that when you go to Bible school, you hear about salvation, right? And I told you about Elijah, my son, the preacher. He is very passionate about Bible school. In fact, he goes to all of them. And he thinks he goes to all of them because they all want him there. But really, let's be honest, I send him because I have a lot of kids and I need a break in the summer. So I'm sending him to Bible school. And all of a sudden I realize he's going to be a Bible school curriculum director. He's going to start telling these amazing Bible stories, you know, the Mount Everest Bible verses and all that stuff. So I decided, what if we did some fun little Bible school rejections, right? Ones that you never want to see at your kids' Bible school when you send them. So like Elisha and the she-bears. The woods is full of trees, you know. Don't tease ball guys if you go. What is that way over there? That kid is getting mauled by bears. Run for your lives. Can you imagine if we had rejected Bible school themes? Wouldn't that be so much fun? Or Noah, and he's getting toasted. Remember, everybody on the ark getting tipsy, and Noah gets super drunk, and he falls apart, and his friends have to come cover him up, and all of that stuff. Can you imagine if we had rejected Bible school themes? Well, I didn't tell my son about that because I want him to write good Bible school material. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Enjoy, and God bless you.
Just so you know, Lauren asked to go first because her daughter is getting ready to play in the sectional championship of soccer in Sullivan, so she's out of here. Next up, we have Andrew Hines. Come on up, Andrew.
Thanks. Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Hines. I'm your local State Farm agent here in Vincennes, Indiana. Thanks, guys. Before we get started tonight, my team and I are going to be passing down quote sheets for everyone along with the offering plates this evening. Drop in your information in for a free quote, and a $100 Procopio's gift card. Just kidding. Guys, all kidding aside, there's no Procopio's gift card, and I'll send you a bill for the quote in the mail. So let's get cracking with the goods. Got some real big thinkers for you. Since I'm not smart enough to memorize everything, this is actually what it's for, by the way. I went ahead and jotted down a few notes. So I was hoping to go ahead and be able to start at 6:30. That changed. On the dot tonight, since it's the best time of day, hands down. Now, the good Lord didn't create anything without a purpose. But mosquitoes come close, right? All right. Well, once I thought about being a garbage man, but I found there's not much training. I heard you just pick things up as you go. Am I right? Thank you. Now, here's one for you. Why was 60 afraid of 70? Because 71. You're welcome. Let's see, the word Q is ironic. It's just the letter Q with a bunch of silent letters waiting in line. See? Be here all night. All right, this is a good one. What do you call a band of whales? An orchestra. Orchestra. All right, let's see. You know the best thing about elevator jokes, and I got plenty. Let's see. They work on so many levels. Right? Thank you. We got one fan. Thank you. Let's see. So I was outside the other day alphabetically organizing my herb garden when my neighbor came over. He looked and asked me where I find the time to do this, and I said it was next to the sage, right? See? We're going to keep running here. Now, what did the janitor yell when he jumped out of the closet? You ready for this one? Supplies! You didn't see that one coming. All right, how do you follow Will Smith in the snow? You look for his fresh prints. Those of us from the 90s. And then what time of day, here we go, we're back to church. What time of day was Adam created? Just a little before Eve. Still got a list here, guys. Now, do y'all know where you can get chicken broth in bulk? The stock market. All right. Now, how do you make holy water? You boil the hell out of it. That's actually where I should leave this, isn't it? Did you guys hear about the submarine industry? It really took a dive. How do you break up a fight between two blind men? You yell, "My money's on the one with the knife." When does a joke become a dad joke? When it becomes apparent. And then why do crabs never give to charity? Because they're selfish. They're selfish, right? Right, thank you. All right, let's see. What do you call Batman when Batman skips church? Christian Bale? That one made me laugh. That was a good one, right? Right, all right. Of course, according to recent studies, 90% of kids don't understand fractions. That's almost half of them, right? I said math was my strong suit. Did you hear the construction joke? Can't see with all the lights. Yeah, they're still working on it. Sorry, ladies. Why did God create man before woman? Because he didn't want any advice on how to do it. I know. May have lost a few insurance policies. To wrap things up, you guys know the greatest thing about a cliffhanger joke?
Let's hear it for Andrew. All right, next we have up Greg Parsley. Let's see what he's got to tell us today. I think he might have it in a video.
No videos. It's comforting when you've got half your office sitting right in front of you. I wasn't sure when I agreed to do this. First of all, it took a month before I even told my wife, and she responded with, "Well, what were you thinking?" She basically said two things. Remember, you're in a worship place. And two, don't draw any attention to her. And I probably have already done that, considering I see that she's actually videotaping me, which is comforting. I thought I would actually talk a little bit about the formative years of Gregory Travis Parsley and what led him to administration, because I spent a lot of time in the office as a youngster. I actually got my first paddling in third grade. It was a situation where the little girl in front of me wasn't a very nice little girl. And I blame Mrs. Summit, my third grade teacher. I went and asked for safety pins. And I thought she was a voodoo doll. I was going to exorcise the demons out of her. That got me jerked out real quick. And in fact, one of the things, and my parents were always very supportive of the school. Sometimes I wonder where parents are, but when the principal or whoever would call my parents, it's like, do whatever you have to do to him. He's going to get it a lot worse when he gets home. Fourth grade, I had a situation with Mrs. Meadows, and she was really one of my favorite teachers, but we were taking the California Achievement Test. And those of you, I Step, I Learn would come close. And I'd had lunch, and lunch was building, or the pressure inside of me. And I had raised my hand and told Mrs. Meadows, I said, I've got to go to the bathroom. And she said, we're taking the standardized test or whatever. She said, you can't do that. She said, you're going to have to wait. And I said, well, that's going to be a problem. But nonetheless, I went on ahead and I sat there. I waited till she said, pencils up, time's up, whatever the case may be, and I bolted out of there. We had no time to ask anymore. Hurried up, I got to the restroom, and I went to Ellettsville Elementary outside of Bloomington, and they had just remodeled the school. They actually put a connector. In that connector was a brand new bathroom. They hadn't even done the ribbon cutting. And I hit everything but the stool. They came over the PA system and hollered for Corky. That was our custodian, and they said, Corky, you're needed to the upstairs bathroom immediately. And I stood up with great pride as a fourth grader in the classroom and informed the class that the reason why Corky's going there is because Mrs. Meadows did not let me go to the bathroom on time. That got me jerked by the arm, and away we went again to the office. I guess real quick, just a story about the stool. I ruined every vacation I think my parents ever took me on. I spent more time in the bathroom than I did anywhere. We went to Epcot. Well, actually, we went to Disney, but we'd gone to Epcot, and I spent 2.5 hours sitting on top of the toilet while my dad was feeding me Tums underneath the stall. My mom, my poor mom, Saint, she's sitting on this block wall. I still have the visual of her in my head. If looks could have killed that day, they certainly would have. And she said, we didn't bring you, Greg, to sit on top of the toilet and pay for all this. And I informed her I had done some math research, and I had 21 people come in on the left side of me and 22 on the right. And my mom absolutely could have cared less about that. A real quick story, middle school, there's a lot there to tell when it comes to Gregory Travis Parsley. My sixth grade English teacher, Mr. Reagan, hung the title of Eddie Haskell on me from Leave It to Beaver, and that hung with me all the way through my senior year. Forward real quick into the high school, I had a situation, Miss Briscoe, she was our home ec teacher, Facts Today. I always called her Cooking with Crisco every time I walked in the classroom. This poor saint of a lady would do anything and everything to be sure I wasn't in the classroom, that she actually gave me the keys to her Dodge Caravan. It was some mid-1980s. I still remember it, maroon, had that wood panel on the side of it. Just to get me out of the classroom, she would send me on grocery runs. Now, if a teacher today did that and allowed their kids to, I can only imagine. She had a cussing jar as well in that classroom, and I'd saved up my allowance for 2 weeks, and I went in on a Monday, and I dropped a $20 bill. I never saw Miss Cooking with Crisco run so fast that day. By the end of that semester that I was with her, she actually put more in the jar, I think, than I did. I'll tell one last story, and it's more so in administration. And Brad Case had told me, he said, if you tell any stories, and those of us who've been in education, you could write a book, but tell a silly, stupid story on me that I guess it's appropriate with it being hunting season. I was principal. I wasn't principal down here at the time, and I was trying to catch a smoker in the bathroom. I'd been trying to catch him for about 3 weeks. And when I say hunting season, I mean with the tree stands and all that. Well, I'd build here we go again with the toilet. I built a kind of a platform underneath this toilet so that I could hopefully try to catch this individual. There were 2 toilets in there, and I'd lock the door, and I'd put this apparatus over the stool. And I figured out at about after 22 and a half minutes that my knees buckled on me. And I ended up falling into the stool. Now, you talk about something that's embarrassing when you're a building principal and it's a passing period, and here comes everybody out. Actually, they're coming out of the cafeteria. Kids are changing classes, and I am wet from the knees on down. And coming out of the bathroom. They know something has gone extraordinarily wrong. That's about all I've got. I hope parents, that if you're parents of BCSC, please don't pull your kids. I've got good help all the way around me, notwithstanding the superintendent. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. All right, next up, our 2019 winner. He's going to come up and entertain you for a little bit longer. Are you ready?
I'm ready, and I'm gonna say I would take that story to my grave if I were you. Just don't ever tell anybody that. And where's Andy's wife? For heaven's sake, don't let your kids give him any more dad joke calendars. Just say no. And I don't know about this rainbow bridge for kitty cats and dogs. I thought about it. I have 4 cremated cats and dogs at my house that the kids made me do that. It's $150 every time you have that done. I'm going to leave those to those kids in my will. One last joke on my way out. Again, he said, my name's Dennis. For those of you that know me, you may notice I've lost some weight, about 65 pounds. For those of you who don't know me, you're probably thinking, Jesus, how big was this guy? I was pretty big. My doctor said I was too sweet. So I had to start a diet and lose some weight. But my doctor sent me to a dietitian. Her name is Cindy. Cindy was a cheerleader at U of K at some point. She had a degree in sports nutrition or some other really made-up sounding degree. I don't know what it was. But she made me keep a food diary. And after a month, I went back and she looked at it with a real serious look in her face and said, how often do you eat bratwurst? And I said, oh, let me explain. We just had Rib Fest, and I bought 2 new cases of bratwurst. So I've been eating it a lot lately. And then she really got serious and said, you buy bratwurst by the case? And I thought, well, you know, Cindy, when you say it that way, it does sound like I eat too much bratwurst. But I have a new nickname that my neighbor Bill got me. He had a block party he managed. And I went to the block party, and I've been called El Guapo, which is translated the handsome one. I don't know if that was a backhanded compliment. But I went around and introduced myself to the neighbors I didn't know, and one of the neighbors said, they didn't really speak English very well, said, little white fluffy dog guy. And so I'm the little white fluffy dog guy in my neighborhood now. I don't know where I went wrong. Hey, and Greg can't do that emergency evaluation thing he told you about before you guys came tonight, so you guys are completely safe. That's not in your contract. I'm not actually competing tonight, but I told Greg and Andy, whoever had the highest donation to the church is who I would recommend you vote for. I mean, yeah. And how scary is it that Andy and Greg and I are local celebrities? You guys are really going to have to step up your game. Somebody's going to have to start singing, I don't know, some tap dancing or something. We need some better celebrity action going on. Although, Andy, he's pretty famous. Toyota came out with an Andy Hines edition truck. If you'll see it driving around town with his face on the side of it. Do they have a Greg Parsley school bus? I mean, you're missing the boat here. I mean, you know. So it's really nice everybody came out to support this kind of thing in our small town. And I know the mission trips to Honduras. And I really want to thank Debbie, was the only person, the pastor was the only one that said, you know, Dennis, this comedy routine's in a church. Like, I was a sailor, but I can clean it up for a little bit. Should I tell a sailor story? That's a smart lady right there. That's a smart lady. I have done a couple of things lately that I think are mildly sacrilegious that I need a ruling on. I bought a collection plate from an auction of a Baptist church in Wheatland, and I use it to keep my spare change and keys in my little red Jeep. Should I turn that over to you for proper use, or? It's handy. I'm not going to lie. And just a passing observation, in any church, I think you should pass the collection plate around first and count the money in front of everybody. Then decide whether your sermon's going to be on the joy of giving or the evils of greed. That's a good tip. That's a good tip. The other is I kind of made an offer on an old church, and I want to knock a hole in the wall and park Harleys in it. So that when somebody says, what are you going to do this weekend? Well, I'm going to spend the weekend in church. Huh? Sacrilegious, right? I mean, yeah, I'd say. Is my time up yet? Do I? All right, here's a sailor story. I was in Subic Bay in the Philippines, and they sell this stuff called Filipino time travel juice. It's real fruity tasting, and it's in a beer pitcher, and you drink a pitcher of it on a Friday night, and you're transported to Sunday morning. where you no longer have any money in your pocket and they've taken your new shoes. It must be something about the time continuum where your shoes and your money can't make it through. And you say, well, that's got to be a weird thing. How often did that happen? Twice. It happened to me twice. The second time I knew there was no way that it would happen again because I had food on my stomach the second time. I was wrong. Yeah. So somewhere right now, somebody's walking around with 2 brand new pair of Nike shoes. Well, they probably made them there anyway. So maybe it wasn't that special. Yeah. Barry, I'm glad you decided to have this comedy night again. He was coughing earlier, so do you want to step away from the end of the stage there? I don't even, have you been swabbed today? Whoa, hey. Hey, a little aggressive with your stance there. Again, donate to the Honduras mission trip.
Guatemala.
Yeah. Hold on, what's this sign say up front? Hold on, it just says mission donations in my defense, so. Have a lovely evening.
Thanks, Dennis. All right, if our local acts will come back up real quick, we got to do a little judging. Come on up, guys. Dennis, since he's not in the running, is going to be Lauren, since she had to leave.
What is that, a breathalyzer?
You fail. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a little crowd participation. We're going to meter them and see how loud you are, and we're going to highest number wins. So we're going to start with the beautiful Lauren over here. How did she do? $98 or no, 97.8. Not bad. So Andrew was second. Let's hear it for Andrew. Triple digits, 101.9. Got a fever. He might have COVID. Send him home for a week. All right, and our last participant, Greg Parsley. Let's hear it. Guess who gets to come back next year? I didn't tell these guys whenever they said they would do it that, the winner comes back the following year because I was afraid they'd say no. But he registered at 106, so Greg is our winner. This is for you. What? Here's our participation trophies.
I'd like to donate this to Honduras.
Well, I'll go out to eat later then. Texas Roadhouse. So let's hear it for our local celebrities.